I now request the DGFT to make his presentation.
Honorable Minister, Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textile, Mr. Piyush Goyal ji, Mr. Jayadev, Principal DG, dear friends from the media and my colleagues in the ministry. Today is a day in which we have achieved the ambitious target of $400 billion from our country. And this was inspired by the vision of Honorable Prime Minister, who exhorted all of us to strive for quality and reliability in the Indian products and to ensure that there is a natural demand for our products in the nook and corner of the world. So this inspired this ambitious target of $400 billion of export target. And as you would see, 9 days before the schedule, this target has been achieved, which is a 37% growth vis-a-vis the previous year, that is 2021. This was achieved because of the clarion call given by Honorable Prime Minister to make a quantum jump in exports, and Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister led from the front to ensure that this happens. So the industry, exporters, and all government agencies, whether it is the line ministries like agriculture, food production, consumer affairs, animal husbandry, or the state governments, came on board along with the exporters to set out and achieve this ambitious target. This highest ever merchandise export from our country has been achieved 9 days ahead of schedule, and the previous high was $330 billion, which was achieved in 2018-19. There have been months where very high levels of exports were achieved, and in December 21, we achieved $39.3 billion of exports. You would also observe that in the current year, month on month, for each of the successive months, $30 billion and above of export was achieved in 21-22. Similarly, engineering goods also jumped by nearly 50% compared to last year. Our electronics goods also jumped by about 41% vis-a-vis last year. We have also observed a huge jump in our agricultural exports compared to last year, and non-basmati rice, wheat, marine products, spices, sugar have led this export growth. Honorable Prime Minister, during his interaction with the Indian missions abroad, with the line departments, with export promotion councils, set out this ambitious target for Department of Commerce, and as I pointed out, Honorable Minister followed it up as a leader leading from the front and had exhaustive consultation with the stakeholders and also interaction with the line ministries. Even during the peak of the pandemic, you would see that the Department of Commerce functioned 24/7, and we set up help desks to ensure that the export consignments are not impacted in any way. We also drew up, the statistics division in Department of Commerce also drew up a very elaborate product country matrix, and even the smallest of countries were not left out while doing this targeting exercise. So 200 countries and territories were targeted, and for products, even the states were also identified where export potential is higher, and touching base with the state was also done. This was done in consultation with the missions abroad, with the export promotion councils. The territorial divisions of commerce were involved in dialogue with their missions to ensure how to facilitate this export target. The commodity boards worked with the respective commodity councils to ensure this, and all industry bodies were on board. a whole of government approach was adopted, and many departments actually joined hands to ensure that this target is achieved at the end of the year. As I pointed out, successively, Honorable Prime Minister himself held consultation with stakeholders, and his consultation with missions abroad in the month of August actually gave a big fillip, and all our embassies, all our commerce consulars were on an overdrive after that. Emphasis was also laid on identifying new markets and new products. And as you know, from a high of 330, we came down to 313 and 219. So wherever market share was lost, that was identified, and a focus was put in ensuring that target for those markets in restoring market share is also ensured. We also identified some low-hanging fruits where higher export targets are possible, and the government's production-linked incentive, especially in electronic goods segment, has been very evident in our higher export of electronic goods as part of this exercise. The MSMEs and startups, through a variety of means, including COVID-related declaration that you are familiar with, were also supported, and the interest equalization scheme, where they were supported with interest subvention of 5%, also helped a large number of MSMEs in increasing their exports. Our district export hub initiative has also contributed to this, and districts have become more conscious in addressing issues of export infrastructure, export gaps, and we now have, out of the 750 districts, we have district export plan ready for more than 480 districts. As far as the monitoring of this target is concerned, Honorable PM monitored it from time to time. Honorable CIM was almost on a weekly basis in touch with the export promotion councils and with respective line ministries to sort out roadblocks, if any. Disaggregated target to the commodity divisions, to the territorial divisions, to the embassies helped in tighter monitoring. Close interaction with the state and district levels were done, and dialogue with partner countries also helped in exports. I would give one or two examples. In the last 1 year, Honorable Minister has been in continuous dialogue with Australia and his counterpart in Australia. And in Australia, we have seen a significant jump in our exports, almost 94%. Similarly, all of you are familiar, for a trade deal with UAE, Honorable Minister was coordinating with his counterpart, and we have seen a 65% jump in our exports to UAE. USA, which is an important country for us, there we have seen a 46% jump in exports. So continuous dialogue with partner countries has also helped in faster resolution of bilateral trade issues and has also resulted in substantial jump in exports. As I pointed out, District Export Hub Initiative has also ensured that states and districts come on board as far as the export orientation is concerned. And it has been evident that apricot from Ladakh, black rice from Assam, Kala Namak rice from Siddharthnagar in UP, and there are a host of products which got onto the export bandwagon because of this district as an export hub initiative. As far as the products are concerned, this slide is for you to notice that we have a diversified product mix, and we also have a diversified geographical basket for our exports. For engineering goods, our exports were the highest to USA, for petroleum products to UAE, for gems and jewelry to China, and so on. These are the top, right, sir, top 5 countries for those products. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the Team India spirit that Honorable PM has been talking of makes it possible for achieving targets which might seemingly seemingly look impossible. Similarly, during the peak of the COVID pandemic, our industry showed the resilience and commitment to rise to the exhortations of the government and ensured that the target of $400 billion is achieved. Similarly, India has been a firm believer in fair trade, and one also realizes that fair and reciprocal trade with partner countries benefits us. The large number of FTAs which have been signed as well as which are under negotiation have built up the confidence of partner countries in India, the brand India, as well as the quality of Indian products. And this has benefited us significantly. So trust in the Indian brands have gone up, and India's rising manufacturing competitiveness and quality consciousness is also quite evident. The large number of quality control orders that have come out, the effort done to ensure better standards for our products have also resulted in our products becoming more globally competitive. And for this reason, our engineered products have achieved an all-time high of $108 billion until now. We expect it to go beyond $110 billion, and this is an all-time high in our country. Similarly, electronic goods have achieved more than $15 billion in the current year and have shown a 41% jump over the previous year. So manufacturing competitiveness and quality consciousness has resulted in this. Our effort in improving the ease of doing business has also resulted in creating a lot of job opportunities on a large scale. As all of you are familiar, there have been studies in the past which suggest that every $1 million of export creates 238 jobs. This is an UNCTAD study of 2018-19 that I'm talking of. And any additional $1 million of export would create a large number of job opportunities. So this $400 billion has resulted in creating a large number of job opportunities in our country. Success for Vocal for Local and Atmanirbhar Bharat has been achieved through the export performance of ours. Thank you.
Thank you for the very informative presentation. Can we have the second video, please?
कृषि उपज पहुंची विदेशी बाजार, अमेठी के किसानों के जीवन में आई बहार। किसानों की आय में वृद्धि और जीवन में समृद्धि लाने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी द्वारा किए गए प्रयासों का फल सामने आने लगा है। इन प्रयासों से किसानों की उपज पहुंच रही है विदेशी बाजारों तक, जिसका लाभ मिल रहा है देश के किसानों को। सरकार द्वारा किए जा रहे इन्हीं प्रयासों से गौरीगंज, अमेठी देश में कृषि निर्यात के लिए एक हब बनकर उभरा है, जहां से 55,000 टन गेहूं को बांग्लादेश के विभिन्न स्थानों के लिए निर्यात किया गया। यहां से 41 रेक खाद्यान्न विभिन्न स्थानों के लिए किए गए लोड, जिनमें से 22 रेक भेजे गए निर्यात के लिए। अमेठी व आसपास के किसानों की उपज विदेशों के लिए निर्यात होने से उन्हें मिला उपज का उचित मूल्य।
मैं गेहूं, धान, सरसों की खेती करता हूं। जब फसल तैयार हो जाती है तो हमारे यहाँ व्यापारी आकर के उचित मूल्य दे करके खरीदारी करते हैं।
हमें खुशी होती है कि हमारे यहाँ का हम लोगों के द्वारा पैदा किया हुआ अनाज बाहर विदेशों में ट्रेन द्वारा भेजा जाता है।
सरकार की नीतियों से नए और विदेशी बाजार के रूप में अब किसानों को मिल रहे हैं नए विकल्प। साथ ही कृषि उपज को उसकी डिमांड के क्षेत्रों तक पहुंचाकर रेलवे कर रही है किसानों की सहायता।
Thank you. Now I request the Honorable Minister to give his remarks on the tremendous achievement. Sir.
Thank you, Santosh ji, for a very, very informative presentation. Thank you, Jaideep, for giving us this opportunity. मित्रों, आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में. It's truly a day of celebration, not for me or for the government. It's a celebration for the people of India. It's a celebration for every single individual in this country. Because today we are showing to the world that despite all adversities, whether it was the COVID second wave between April and June of 2021, the first quarter, the Omicron wave, December, January, earlier, some time back, whether it's the war between Ukraine and Russia and the associated sanctions and all the disturbances that the world is seeing, the world is facing, that India has experienced. India is facing such challenging times. So many times we had cyclones in different parts of the country, whether western part or eastern part. Despite all of these difficulties, it is a true testimony to the sheer grit, determination, self-confidence, and the capabilities of our young entrepreneurs, of our farmers, our exporters, our MSME sector, small and medium industries, our tiny industries, our handlooms, our handicraft sector, the dairy sector. It's a collective show of strength that India can do it, we have done it, and we will continue to excel. It's the first time in history that India has crossed $400 billion in merchandise exports. If this was a movie like the Kashmir Files, it would be called a Make in India blockbuster. It's also a very important milestone in our journey towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, a country which is self-confident, which provides for its needs, where people respect domestically made products, but we are able to work with the rest of the world from a position of strength. We are able to take on challenges of all sorts, compete on our quality, compete on the strength of our innovative products that we make, compete on the strength of our farmers who toil day and night to produce some truly exotic and wonderful fruits, vegetables, horticulture products, our fishermen who go out into the sea and catch very, very important export products. It's truly a time for all of us to reflect on our strengths, our capabilities, and the future. I think we owe this $400 billion success story to the countless hours spent by everybody in Team India, as Mr. Sarangi rightly pointed out. It's truly a collective effort. We broke every silo within the government and within government and industry, between government and industry, or between government and stakeholders like exporters, logistics providers, our missions abroad. All silos were broken. And collectively, everybody worked to a common purpose. I must thank all the banks who also made it possible to have adequate financing, to the insurance companies, to the various ambassadors or high commissioners, all the missions all over the world, who also became a part of this success story, the part of this journey. So you had missions literally going out to canvas for business for India. You had missions going out to explore new opportunities for entrepreneurs, our MSMEs, for our farmers, agriculturists. And with this collective effort, which was driven with the inspirational leadership of Prime Minister Modi. After all, I have yet to hear of any Prime Minister focus on something like exports ever before. But he took this as a personal commitment. He took this as a challenge. He inspired all of us within the government. He motivated industry and all the other stakeholders. And when he gave the clarion call that India will cross $400 billion of merchandise exports, I think many people found it to be quite ambitious, quite bold. Probably many felt it was nearly impossible to achieve. Maybe some felt it's just a target to keep the mood going. But Prime Minister Modi never let a single moment go by where he was not monitoring personally, engaged with all the problems, guiding us through as we navigated the various challenges over the last 12 months. We had consistent and regular stakeholder interactions, whether with exporters, whether with industry participants. Prime Minister himself held budget webinars last year also, and then again this year, to literally make it a bottom-up approach. This was not something which was driven from the top. It was more something where all the stakeholders came together and they determined what we will achieve. And I'm really delighted that with this kind of micromanagement, country-wise target, product-wise target, state-wise target, district-wise targets, different boards working towards one target, ministries and departments working towards their own individual targets. Every mission all over the world, and he said 200 countries were involved, had a target of their own. It could be as large as $75 billion, as small as $7 million, depending on the size and our business with these countries. But everybody played a role. And therefore, a big thank you to all the participants in this journey. A big thank you to my friends from the media who would consistently encourage businesses through your positive reporting, through the encouraging comments that came in many editorials, through the coverage, vast coverage we got, not only in the pink papers or business channels, but across the board. This became a national mission, and each one of you have played your own role in making this possible. A big thank you to all our friends from the media also. In fact, it was quite a learning experience for many of the persons involved in this exercise of how innovative ideas can be brought to the fore when you are going in for very aggressive and ambitious targets for the future. In fact, Prime Minister has taught us so much about the importance of target setting, and being ambitious in that, being bold, the importance of monitoring the work that is happening, the importance of course correction from time to time that is required as you go along. It's like getting everybody on the same page and rewriting history. And I think this whole of the government approach that was mentioned earlier has been taken to the next level of a whole of the country approach. And in this, the entire country became a stakeholder. And friends, it's not only about $400 billion merchandise exports being reached. It builds your confidence in your own abilities. It shows people new areas, new markets, new products. I mean, I remember the story that y'all had only shared with the world, where the pineapple from Tripura has started getting exported all over the world, or the lychees from Bihar, or the different types of mangoes from different parts of the country. We've all heard of Alfonso mango since I come from Mumbai. We were all very proud of it from Maharashtra. But I think there's more mango going from all over the country today than just the Alfonso mango. And that's the kind of Sabka Saath approach that Prime Minister Modi has focused on. which leads to Sabka Vikas, the collective well-being of the entire society, entire nation, the trust, Sabka Vishwas, the trust that we have earned, and not only Indian people's trust, the world today trusts India. I mean, you can see it also in the rankings of global leaders that are released regularly. Today, Prime Minister Modi is the world's most trusted leader. And that trust percolates into governments, percolates into businesses. And therefore, more and more governments want to today do free trade agreements or economic partnerships with India. More and more businesses want to see India and Indian contributors, whether our young boys and girls, our service providers, our talent, our businesses, our MSMEs, they want to see them as a part of their global supply chains. And I can assure you that we can see huge amount of outcomes with Sabka Prayas, with the active collective involvement of everybody. We are poised for significant growth in the years to come. We shall all work together as a team with the states, with the districts. For the first time today, Uttar Pradesh has an exports minister. Today, states have started recognizing it's their role also to promote exports. There was a time states felt it is the central government problem. Yogi Adityanath ji understood, and I think it was in this very room where I had said that UP has massively increased its exports. Because he recognizes that this provides new opportunities for our young boys and girls, new jobs. When you export a product, the whole ecosystem, logistics, transport, it's something which not only gives direct employment, but also a huge indirect employment opportunity for the people. I think we are all very, very proud of the good work. We must recognize the hard work put in by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and all the other ministries. But clearly the ministry led from the front. I think every officer of the Government of India, particularly the Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Industry, was like hands-on 24/7. I could literally wake up somebody in the middle of the night and ask them what's the wheat export, and they would give me the figures that in 1920 it was 2 lakh tons, in 2021 it grew to over 20 lakh tons, and 21-22 we'll probably have 70 lakh tons of wheat export. That's the kind of transformational journey that the export sector has seen. Our agriculturists, our farmers, all are benefiting. The common man of the country will benefit from these aggressive results. And I'm sure whether it's a brass trader from Moradabad or a chicken embroidery person from Lucknow, whether it's the grape farmers of Nasik or our textiles coming in from Ludhiana, whether it's the Pashmina shawl from Kashmir or the products that come from Himachal Pradesh, the Kulu shawl, whether it's the ceramic products from Morbi in Gujarat, or it is the bamboo products coming in from the northeastern states. It has been a collective effort of every state of the country, every union territory of the country, every different sector, whether it's gems and jewelry coming in from Tamil Nadu, or it is the inorganic or organic chemical industry, the pharmaceutical and medical devices coming from Andhra Pradesh. Every part of the country has contributed to this collective effort, collective success story. My best wishes to all the exporters, my compliments to all the exporters. Engineering goods grew by 50%. The agri exports will cross $40 billion, I'm told, which is, we are talking of 3 lakh crores, 3 lakh crores of farmers' produce being exported. overall 30 lakh crores worth of goods being exported from India truly calls for a celebration. And across the country, I believe this is going to send a very, very strong message, a message of a very positive nature, a very confident future for our young boys and girls, for our startups, for all the stakeholders in this sector. I think हमने शुरू की थी एक कोशिश, जब कोशिश हकीकत में बदलती है तो उसका स्वाद ही कुछ और होता है। और मेरा मानना है कि इस बहुत ही अद्भुत काम के लिए पूरे देश में हर एक व्यक्ति जो इसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है, डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली, हम सभी को कहना चाहेंगे कि कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, और हम आगे भी इसी प्रकार से बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ दुनिया की मार्केट्स में जाएं, दुनिया की मार्केट्स में काम करें। भारत अब तैयार है पूरी दुनिया के कोई चुनौती का सामना करने के लिए। भारत अब पूरी तरीके से एक गुणवत्ता से परिपूर्ण हाई क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स और रिलायबल प्रोडक्ट्स देने के लिए पूरी तरीके से अभी तैयार भी है और प्रतिबद्ध भी है। पुनः एक बार आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, sir. We'll now take some questions. Yeah, 175.
Sir, this is Nirbhay from UNI. To a small query, sir, out of this 400 billion worth of export, what was the share of MSME sector in this? And secondly, sir, there have been a significant rise in COVID cases in Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Malaysia, and all China. So have you seen any impact on the trade from India with these countries? Thank you.
MSME has always had a very significant share. Exact drill down details will still be worked out by the statistical office. But MSME historically has had a very large share. And in MSME, I will include, for example, the farmers. When 3 lakh crores worth of farm products go, sometimes they may go even by a large exporter. But the source is our small farmers. So to that extent, our engineering products are largely going from our MSME sector. And I would not be surprised if in the years to come, the MSME will continue to be the mainstay of India's exports. Exact percentages, of course, will be released in due course after statistical analysis. Some of it will also not be complete because products of MSME are aggregated and then go into a finished product or into a larger product which is exported. So an automobile car may be exported, but पुर्जे तो उसके सब MSME से आते हैं बड़ी मात्रा में। एयरबैग हो, सीट बेल्ट हो, सीट्स हो, तो लाइट्स हो, विंडशील्ड हो, उसके रेयर व्यू मिरर हो, सो मेनी थिंग्स। तो मेरा मानना है कि MSME का योगदान बहुत ही सराहनीय रहा है। जहाँ तक कुछ इलाकों में कोविड बढ़ रहा है उसकी बात है, वो तो विश्व में आज भी अनिश्चितता लगी हुई है। हम उस पर पूरी तरीके से नज़र रखे हुए हैं, सतर्कता से काम कर रहे हैं, और जो भी चुनौतियां आएंगी, पिछले वर्ष भी आई, आगे भी आएंगी, हम उसका पूरा सामना करेंगे।
126.
सर मेरी दीक्षित 18 हाउस से। सर मौजूदा जो यूक्रेन रशिया का विषय है उसका कुछ इम्पैक्ट, ये यूक्रेन रशिया के चलते जो इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है कंटेनर्स पर और शिपिंग सेक्टर में भी, एक्सपोर्ट्स में उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट आप देखते हैं और उसको रिजॉल्व करने के लिए क्या कुछ
हम इस पे अभी नियंत्रण रखे हुए हैं। हमारा स्वयं का तो एक्सपोर्ट बहुत ज़्यादा रशिया यूक्रेन की तरफ कम नहीं था, कम था, लेकिन इसका एक ओवरऑल ग्लोबल इम्पैक्ट प्राइसेस पे भी आया है, कीमतें बढ़ी हैं इसके कारण, और विश्व भर में इसके कारण शिपिंग में भी थोड़ी समस्या आई है। क्या कमोडिटी प्राइसेस का तो आपने देखा हाल बेहाल हुआ है। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में जरूर चुनौतियां बढ़ेंगी, पर हम उसका सामना भी करेंगे।
Number 3.
सर मैं शैलेश हूँ एएनआई से। सर जैसे कि प्रेजेंटेशन में बताया जा रहा था कि इससे काफ़ी संख्या में रोज़गार मिले हैं, तो अगर इस टारगेट को हम ट्रांसलेट करें रोज़गार में, तो कितने साल भर में करीब कितने रोज़गार जो है जनरेट हुए हैं? और दूसरा सर, अगले साल के लिए क्या टारगेट रखा जा रहा है?
देखिए, हमने अलग अलग प्रकार से जब असेसमेंट किया, तो जैसे आजकल फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट्स वगैरह हम तय करते हैं, तो असेस करते हैं इसका लाभ क्या होगा, कितनी एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ सकती है। तो अनुमानित ऐसा ध्यान में आता है कि लगभग $10 बिलियन का जब निर्यात गुड्स का बढ़ता है, और मैं इसमें साधारणतः ज़्यादा विशेष ध्यान देता हूँ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, एमएसएमई प्रोड्यूस को, इंजीनियरिंग प्रोड्यूस को, टेक्सटाइल्स, लेदर, जिन क्षेत्रों में लोगों को बड़े पैमाने पे नौकरी मिलती है, फार्मास्यूटिकल, ऐसे क्षेत्रों में देखते हैं तो लगभग 10 बिलियन यानी 75,000 करोड़ का जब एक्सपोर्ट होता है, तो साधारणतः 10 लाख लोगों को डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट रोजगार के अवसर प्रदान होने की संभावनाएं पैदा हो जाती हैं। उस हिसाब से और उस अनुपात में देखें तो आपको ध्यान में आएगा कि ये जो 37% की वृद्धि, वो तो आज 22 तारीख तक हुई है, 31 तारीख तक तो ये और बढ़ जाएगा नंबर। तो उससे आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि इसमें अधिकांश जो वृद्धि हुई है ये इन क्षेत्रों में हुई है। अभी अभी बताया, इंजीनियरिंग में 50%, किसानों के क्षेत्र में 3 लाख करोड़ का निर्यात हो चुका है। ऐसे क्षेत्रों को जब देखते हैं तो हौसला भी बढ़ता है कि रोजगार लोगों को और बड़े रूप में उत्पन्न हो रहा है। और जब ईपीएफओ, ईएसआईसी, अलग अलग जो आजकल सर्वेज आ रहे हैं, जो आजकल कई जगह से कंप्लेन आ रही है, आदमी नहीं मिलते, हमारा आईटीपीओ में प्रगति मैदान में काम चल रहा है, हमें लोग नहीं मिलते हैं काम करने के लिए। आज ये परिस्थिति है कि वी आर फाइंडिंग अ शॉर्टेज ऑफ वर्कर्स। तो आज देश में एक बहुत नए उत्साह के साथ प्रगति हो रही है। अगले साल का तो अभी ये साल पूरा कर ले जरा, उसके बाद चलेगा। लेकिन मैं इतना बता दूं कि चर्चाएं शुरू हो गई हैं मिशंस के साथ, ईपीसीस के साथ, वो चर्चा की श्रृंखला शुरू हो गई।
2 to 5.
This is Aftab from Reuters. Just wanted to know a few things. What are the main challenges and the opportunity that you see from the Ukraine-Russia crisis in terms of exports and imports? And in terms of transaction settlement with Russia, is there any payment mechanism that's being worked
I
out?
think we'll leave that for the concerned department to respond. Challenges are well known. There are challenges of commodity prices, there are challenges of inflation, there are challenges of disruption in shipping lines and container shortages, as was just shared by one of your colleagues. So those challenges are there before us and will certainly may lead to some kind of disruption because of trade, because it's come along with the COVID, which is also rearing its head. But we are completely on top of these issues and are in continuous dialogue and are hand-holding our exporters on a regular basis.
Sir, this is Venkatesh from Sakshi TV. The Telangana heavy production of the paddy, the government is asking
We
for...
are discussing exports over here.
So,
Anybody has any export related
Is there
question?
any chance to export the 100% from the Telangana, sir, rice? They produce
Yes,
very
there
much.
is huge potential to export from Telangana, and I'm sure our exporters of Telangana are also exporting in a big way. I'm given to understand last year also we saw significant exports of rice from Telangana.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Priyashmita from Informist Media. I actually have two questions. The first is, as of Feb 11, I think you had said that the interim Australia-India trade pact is going to be signed by a month. So what is the present status of that? And the second is, when is the new SEZ policy expected? Thank you.
As regards the first, negotiations are going on. Both the Honorable Prime Ministers had a virtual summit day before yesterday on the 21st. They have both reiterated the commitment of both countries for an early conclusion of the enhanced trade partnership, the initial portion of the SICA, and we are working towards that. In these negotiations, it's always difficult to set a deadline, but I can assure you that very active discussions and negotiations are underway. As regards The SEZ, the Honorable Finance Minister had announced that consultations will be held and will come out with a much more liberal, proactive and contemporary policy. As you may be aware, since announcing the budget, Parliament has been largely focused on the budget approvals, and everybody has been busy with the budget. I think next month we'll start discussing on the SEZ policy.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Sir, I am Bani Kinkar Patnaik from Financial Express. Sir, last month India concluded the FTA with UAE. So when do you see that, coming into force? And sir, when is the next foreign trade policy expected to be announced?
Friends, another good news for all of you. The UAE has formally ratified the India-UAE comprehensive partnership, and we are hopeful that once all the paperwork, all the notifications and all that have to come out are done, we'll be able to start implementing, or where the agreement will enter into force. I would think it could happen anytime in the next, say, 6 weeks' time or so. As regards the new foreign trade policy, since a number of events have overtaken us, particularly even the big achievement of $400 billion merchandise export, the huge growth in service exports, about which I'll talk to all of you on another day. I think many events that are unfolding are making us work overtime to make that policy much more contemporary and more real time, more live to the needs of the new India that we are seeing today, the new confidence in our exporters. So we would be looking at probably giving some more time before that policy comes in, and the existing policy will then, we may notify soon, will be continued for some more months.
Thank you, friends. We close the press conference now. The Honorable Minister has to go for a urgent meeting.
Thank you. Wonderful meeting, all of you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
thank you once again for all your support and your continuous encouragement to make us achieve these targets. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.